Episode 7, Unpredictability is the new normal. Are you ready or just reactive? Hey everyone, and welcome back to Logistics at a Crossroads. I'm Gia, and today we're not just talking about markets, we're talking about momentum and what happens when it stalls. The week of April 3rd, global markets took a hit. Bond yields surged, stocks dipped, and oil, it fell below $60 a barrel for the first time in 4 years. The spark? Another round of U.S. tariffs. But let's be honest, the foundation was cracking long before that. For decades, logistics ran on a system built around global consistency. We're going to talk about the top 3. Predictable trade flows, just-in-time inventory, fast, interconnected freight networks. But that world, it's changing. And fast. You don't have to look far to see the cracks. Take the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, one of the busiest East Coast container hubs, instantly throwing thousands of shipments into reroutes and delays. Or we can look at China's latest manufacturing numbers. April data shows factory activity shrinking for the 4th straight month, forcing U.S. companies to rethink sourcing timelines right now, not next year. And it's not just about what's slowing down. It's about what's heating up. And Mexico? Their ports and rail lines are booming. Nearshoring isn't just a buzzword anymore. It's a real growing shift, changing how and where freight will move across North America. Predictable global flows, they're becoming the exception, not the rule. Let's talk about those rising treasury yields. Economists call it a warning sign. Investors running for safety. But when you're talking logistics, we don't have the luxury of waiting things out. We keep moving, even when the ground under us has shifted. Crashing oil prices might seem like a silver lining. Cheaper diesel, right? But it only matters if the demand will hold. Because if the goods stop flowing, it doesn't matter how cheap fuel gets. And for those of us that work or have worked on the waterfront, I'm going to be honest, the ripple effect hits harder. When the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed, it wasn't just a shipping news headline. It was personal. It disrupted livelihoods, rerouted thousands of containers. It slowed critical imports that communities and companies depended on. And when you lived it, when you go into work and you see a crane sitting idle, or your gates locked, or complete vessel schedules wiped out, you realize unpredictability isn't some market trend. It's real. It's felt by truckers, dock workers, terminal operators, the frontline people who hold the supply chain together when the headlines have moved on. That's the truth Wall Street misses. We don't just track the unpredictability, we absorb it. But that's also where our true leadership shows up. Not in the kind that reacts after the storm, the kind that plans before it hits. The companies investing in supply chain visibility, real-time tracking, predictive analytics, they aren't buying flashy tech. They're buying us operational survival. They're not just watching weather patterns, they're tracking geopolitical risks, supplier stability, port congestions in real time. And we're also seeing major investments in supplier diversification. Companies are building out secondary suppliers across the U.S., Mexico, and Southeast Asia. They're hedging against shutdowns, more tariffs, and sudden regulatory swings. But let's talk about the job market. That's telling a story too that most aren't even realizing. Because 5 years ago, hardly anyone outside of a Fortune 500 talked about supply chain risk analyst. Today, it's one of the hottest logistics job titles out there. The companies that thrive from here on out won't be the ones hoping for stability. They'll be the ones engineering resilience into every decision. They're using tools that offer real-time insights. They're building supplier redundancy. They're planning for unpredictability as the new normal and not the exception. So, unpredictability isn't coming. It's already here. And the question isn't if you'll be tested. The question is, are you reactive or are you ready? I'd love to hear how your team is navigating this new era. What tools or strategies are helping you build resilience into your operations? Email me, DM me, or leave me a voice message. You never know. Your insight might help someone else stay one step ahead. You've been listening to Holding the Line, a Logistics at a Crossroads podcast with Gia. Until next time, I'll be navigating the crossroads right along with you.